There's just something special about a well-designed video game that grabs you from the very core and enchants you with its set of excellent mechanics and smartly designed systems. Playing such games will surely result in you getting addicted to them, and this feature will talk about 15 video games that feature addictive combat loops. Armored Core 6. From Software has done an excellent job with Armored Core 6, and made this entry a glorious comeback for the long-running series. Taking place on the planet of Rubicon 3, Armored Core 6 tasks players to partake in increasingly tough battles against different kinds of mechs.
Only a few targets left.
There's just a distinct sense of power fantasy that comes from controlling a heavily armed mech, and the developer's signature difficulty makes sure that this power fantasy always feels earned. Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 adds plenty of new elements to this long-running fighting franchise, including but not limited to a fully fledged open world, and it gets all the better for it. The core fighting mechanics are extremely solid, and it's a lot of fun to experiment with different characters and find out what catches your fancy. Street Fighter 6 has a really high skill ceiling, and it makes climbing to the top ranks really fun with its selection of diverse game modes. Mortal Kombat 1 2023. Mortal Kombat 1 2023 is an excellent new fighter that's easy to pick up, but difficult to master. There's just a vast list of combos available for each of the dozens of characters, and mastering each of these move lists one by one is a consistently enjoyable experience. The combat really kicks into high gear on the higher difficulties, where you must study your opponent's moves and quickly devise a strategy to defeat them all in a matter of seconds, and that is something that will keep you coming back for more. Dead Space Remake. The Dead Space Remake is a faithful recreation of the 2008 horror classic, and developer EA Motive has done a job of cleaning up its many rough edges. What we get as a result is a modern first-person shooter that's every bit as addictive as it is scary. Sure, the encounters are not as frequent as other action horror games, but Dead Space Remake offers plenty of player freedom with its selection of different weapons, abilities, and dismemberment mechanics, which makes it all so endearing in the first place. HiFi Rush. Tango Gameworks surprised us all with the recently released HiFi Rush, which is easily one of the most well-designed games in recent memory. The entirety of the game world moves to the beat, and you must keep in time with the rhythm as you dish out damage to your foes. It's a simple gameplay loop that manages to be extremely satisfying due to its rhythmic nature, and it's made all the better through the use of catchy tunes, among others. Final Fantasy XVI. Final Fantasy XVI features over-the-top, fast-paced hack-and-slash combat, which makes the resulting experience nothing short of extraordinary. The combat feels extremely polished and fast-paced, and using your abilities and weapons in creative ways not only looks really flashy, but also provides a distinct sense of power fantasy. Add to that some amazing econ fights, and Final Fantasy XVI becomes a really addictive game. Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Knight might just be the end of the Arkham games as we know, and it wouldn't be an understatement that Batman went down in style. There are a few rough edges here and there, but Arkham Knight nails the rhythmic combat that the series is known for. The parry timings are generously large, the moves really flow into one another, and there are plenty of combat challenges for players to test their mettle.
Now don't worry, you can thank me later.
You don't stand a chance.
Ghost Runner 2. Ghost Runner 2 excellently builds upon what came before in new and interesting ways, and what we get is a sequel that's bigger and better than the original in almost every conceivable way. The one-hit, one-kill mechanic is utilized to the fullest extent, and players are expected to do a meticulous ballet of wall slides, slashes and slides to clear out large rooms of enemies. Ghost Runner 2 has a really high skill ceiling, which is what motivates you to go back and do it all over again, and that is what makes it all so intrinsically addictive in the first place. Wolfenstein The New Colossus. Machine Games delivered an excellent shooter with Wolfenstein The New Colossus, which smartly marries the chaotic shooting of 90s first-person shooters with modern gameplay conveniences and open-ended design. The New Colossus really embraces the chaos with dozens upon dozens of enemies filling the arena at any given point, and with the ability to dual-wield any weapon type, that makes the experience really fun and replayable. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is an excellent sequel that does a fantastic job of taking what worked in the original and ramping it up to 11. Everything from the traversal to the story and the combat has been improved in significant ways, which makes it all the more addictive. Parker and Miles both have different movesets and special abilities, and chaining them together to create a flurry of hard-hitting combos delivers a power fantasy like no other. Add to that plenty of combat challenges, and Spider-Man 2 becomes a really fun action game. Solstice. Solstice is in many ways a glorious throwback to hack-and-slash classics like Onimusha, and it does a really good job of simulating that flashy combat design that made those games so great in the first place. Solstice's unique mechanic of controlling two conjoined characters also adds a fresh twist to the experience. Lies of P. Lies of P tells a story of Pinocchio in a rather unique fashion, thanks to its dark fantasy setting, but it's an experience that has plenty to love as well. The combat draws heavy influence from Bloodborne, so it naturally revolves around striking a careful balance between aggressive strikes and calculated dodges. It also infuses some of its own mechanics like attachable prosthetic tools and customizable weapons into the mix, which makes it feel unique in a way. It obviously has a learning curve to it, but once you really get to grips with the systems, Lies of P becomes a really captivating experience. Elden Ring. From Software knocked it out of the park with Elden Ring, and it truly feels like an amalgamation of the developer's best works to date. The combat system is still about managing stamina and carefully dishing out damage to your opponents, but what makes it so addictive is the sheer variety of weapons on offer. You can be a master sorcerer with a buffet of spells under your belt, or you could be a tank dual-wielding heavy swords. The challenging enemies and compelling NG+ options make it really difficult for players, which is what makes Elden Ring so much more addictive. Wild Hearts. Wild Hearts might have looked like a Monster Hunter ripoff at first glance, but the game was able to legitimize its existence upon launch with its fun gameplay and unique set of crafting ideas. The kimono battles offer a diverse set of challenges to overcome, and you can use your knowledge of the Karakuri technology to craft interesting solutions to these challenges. The progression loop and the general smooth-flowing gameplay loop makes it all really addictive, and fans of Monster Hunter should definitely check this one out. Gears 5. Gears 5 puts players in the shoes of Kate Diaz as she embarks on a grand quest to find the origin of the Locusts, and it's a journey that's punctuated with some really amazing firefights. The cover-based third-person shooting has been refined to an immaculate sheen, and everything from the feedback to the balance and intensity are on point, which makes it all such an amazing experience. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.